Is it better now?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay.
So, what is the strategy for today? Talking about strategy.
You have Mihai here. He is a very well-known strategist globally. Okay. Uh, so he has a very thorough research in strategy management. So
Absolutely.
especially the evolution of the strategy management for last maybe 15, 20, 30 years, whatever. Okay. So happy to
Yeah.
have Mihai with us. Okay, we always learn, and he's very
Wonderful.
precise in the terminologies
Wonderful.
and great.
Wonderful.
So, probably
So
you
Glad
can
to
dive
start.
the product management to me.
yeah, we talk about product. Yeah, it's a time. Okay, so Deep, are you if you are able to hear us? Uh, so can we see who is attending, kind of thing, or you manage it? So please let me know if you have it. Okay. Yeah, it's a time now. I think we need to start. Our organizer have told that the program is live in all the channels, YouTube, Facebook, and the stream ad. Uh, so let us do a quick introduction. By the time the people will join, uh, so welcome all panelists to the Global Strategy Talk Show Edition 3. So thank you very much for joining. So let us get a brief introduction from each one of us so that audience can know whom they are listening to. So basically, what I would like to say that it will be our privilege to host the event. Okay. So product management and strategy. So this is something which is a very wonderful topic. Very rarely people pay attention to it. Okay. I think uh, after doing a priority for the sales, finance, manufacturing, and everything, so product management is lost somewhere. So now we are bringing this to the center stage, as every company either they do a product or a service, and aligning the product or service to the strategy is one of the most important thing, whether we like it or not. Okay. So this is something which we want to discuss and debate, explore opportunities. How can we talk more about it? Help our customers, audience, and others. How can they improve product management? How can we bring product managers close to the strategy managers? So that's how it is. So that's how we will talk more as we go on. So myself, Sheikh Abdul Khader, the CEO of Data Labs India. So product architect for True Strategy. So we are very happy to host this event and series of events in strategy management. So I welcome co-panelists. We will start from Sheikh. You can do the introduction from your side because you guys are experienced in product management, and Mihai is he is expert in strategy, and also he's very well equipped with the product management also. Yeah, Sheikh, you please go ahead with the introduction from
Thank
your
you.
side.
Thank you, Abdul Qadir Sahab. Hello, everyone. I'm Sheikh Mohammed. My preferred name is Sheikh. With over 25 years of experience in leadership in consulting within the tech industry. I've worked with reputed companies like PayPal, eBay, Nihilite, many more, and I launched my own ventures as well. My focus is driving positive change in product and technology organizations, from agility to leadership coaching. I thrive on fostering innovation and learning cultures. Thank you for having me. I'm eager to dive into today's discussion. So before my introduction, I just wanted to throw some light on my passion. Few pieces of my passion. One is empowering organization to thrive by making them nimble, adaptable, and resilient. Number two, cultivating high-performing product and technology teams. Number three, ensuring delivery of truly world-class products. So these things are something close to my heart. Number four, providing executive coaching to unlock leadership potential. Then the next one is offering strategic consulting. When I say strategy, there are few specializations where I am very much interested. One is organizational strategy. The next one is the functional unit strategy, like for example, product management organization strategy or PMO organization strategy, likewise. Then product strategy, then planning and execution, and innovation strategy. These are the areas where I've spent last 15 years working with these reputed companies. Of course, the next one is designing and delivering world-class training programs and workshops. And I have trained thousands of people, some leaders across APAC region. I was the head of the APAC region PayPal enterprise transformation team. So as part of that, I traveled across the world and then trained and conducted workshops in PayPal development centers. Lastly, I have expertise around building technology centers as well. So I have, for example, in my last company, I have contributed along with my leadership team in Bangalore, working for Blackhawk, which is a US company, their development center in Bangalore. The last piece of my introduction is there is a missing part in my career. I have had the privilege of working with people across the world, right from Australia to US, except the South American companies. But I haven't had much experience working in Middle East or Middle Eastern companies. That's why I'm looking forward to moving to Dubai soon. I'm going to start my consulting firm in Dubai, based out of Dubai. It's my final chapter of my career, and I'm excited to bring my expertise to the region. So, with this, I thank Data Labs for giving me this opportunity, this platform to share my experiences along with my fellow panel members. So, I'm super excited. Over to you, sir.
Welcome, Mr. Sheikh. We wish you good luck for the Middle East. We spent majority of our time in Middle East, if not all. So we wish you good luck. Okay, so over
Thank
to you,
you.
Mihai. So let us go the counter the clockwise. Yeah. So you are in mute.
Yep, I have unmuted myself. So thank you very much for the opportunity of participating in this talk show. I've been working on a task of better understanding strategy for the past 15 years. And I've tried to connect the dots of the major or the relevant theories and concepts and methodologies that we can pick from books, from lectures, from courses, and from practice. And I think that I'm getting close to the point of integrating all these components into something that makes sense in practice. And the aspect of practice is extremely important because especially strategy tends to be something relatively general and applied to all sorts of things. And when you get to do practice, when you need to gather around the table and do some things, some very concrete and practical things about strategy, then suddenly some problems appear. And that's my focus of how do we take from the whole universe of concepts and ideas about strategy and connects them in a practical ways that can allow us to do strategy in a highly professional manner, and also to obtain the results and get to the benefits of a correct understanding of strategy. And this year I have started the quest of delivering this as part of a course, which is both theory and practice. Next month we'll start the second edition of the course, and I'm very much looking forward to being able to advance this, because people are actually in front of some case studies for which they need to produce all the components of the strategy, and then all the components of the strategic plans that is based on the strategy. And then they can take the next day after they finish the course, they can take all this back to their offices and into their companies or into their customers' companies. They can take this practice to and do strategy in a very professional way. So yeah, that's about myself.
Yeah, thank you, Mihai. Thank you for joining the session today, in spite of very busy schedule, and you are a very inspirational advocate of proper strategy management across the globe. We wish you good luck for your the methodology, which is a strategy cycle clockwise. So I really enjoyed your training program last couple of months ago. We wish you good luck. Thank you for joining the panel, and I'm sure our audience will be having a lot of questions for you. Mr. Farhan, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Engineer Sheikh. I'm delighted to be here today among the fellow panelists here. My name is Farhan Ahmed Hashmi, an engineer at core, a computer science graduate. I started off my career with technology in ICT, ventured into pre-sales, then sales, spent a good amount of time in sales. And then after doing an MBA, I also ventured into product management. So for the past good 11 to 12 years, I've been in product management in various ICT organizations in the region. Unlike Sheikh here, Middle East is the only area I've been in, along with a few responsibilities in the MENA region. I did my certifications in product management, certified product manager and certified product marketing manager for American Institute of Marketing. I'm also a certified innovation leader, CIL. At the same time, I also, enjoy implementing these practices in my day-to-day life. I also am an executive coach, a business coach, and I also have the experience of understanding the challenges leaders and executives face in different organizations, especially when it comes to strategy formulation, execution, product development, and product management.
Perfect. Welcome, Engineer Farhan. Thank you very much for joining. I think it's time to start now. So before starting, I would like to talk about very quickly about our sponsor, Data Labs India. And the Fruit Strategy is the solution, a comprehensive solution for strategy execution. Okay, I request all of you to have a look at it and get a brief demonstration. The Fruit Strategy helps organizations to execute strategy in a most comprehensive way, in a systems-driven approach. Okay, so thank you for joining, panelists, and thank you for our audience. Welcome on board. So let us start the key topic of our discussion today: product management and strategy. Okay, so I would like to panelists to talk about what is product management is all about. Okay, so why this is very important for any business, and how can we give a most priority for the product management in context of strategy. So just quickly, can we have a quick word? I leave it to you. You can choose any order. So what is really product management? Give a quick a minute or a couple of minutes introduction. But what is product management? Maybe Farhan, you can give from your perspective, and then
Sure.
we'll go. Yeah. Mhm.
Basically, product management, it is a discipline of guiding your product through its life cycle, from inception to market launch and beyond. The most important thing is that it involves understanding the customer needs, defining the vision of the product, prioritizing the features, and also coordinating across various functions within the organizations, like the engineering, the communications, the sales, the pre-sales, in order to ensure the success of the product.
Yeah. Mihai, would you like to throw a light on what is product management from your side?
Well, I was doing product management 27 years ago, which is a long time ago. I was doing something like Farhan is doing today, because I was working for a telecom company, and at that time I didn't know much about marketing, about product management, about strategy, not even by far. And I've discovered that by, first of all, reading the two big books of Philip Kotler about the strategy management and marketing strategy.
Marketing.
I'm sorry,
Marketing management.
Marketing management. Yeah, and I realized that actually product management is the foundation of the entire marketing discipline. Of course, that comes after it's Marcom, it's branding, it's there are channel management, and a variety of disciplines. But everything starts from the from product management, which is a foundation of everything else inside the marketing function in an organization. So. That's something that I learned by practicing it, by launching mobile services and creating them and them managing the ways that they are told through various channels, and working with the advertising people and direct marketing and so on. So that was my initial contact with strategy. At that time, when I thought about, okay, what would be something related to strategy, of course, I went to customer needs and how can we satisfy them and actually customize our products for various niches of customer needs in various segments. And that was what my understanding was at that time. So that's something that, of course, I see in a slightly different way, not in principle related to the product management, but more to the integration of product management and organization's strategy. So that's my let's say background about talking about the integrating strategy and product management.
Great. Sheikh Saab, you would like to throw a light on what is product
Sure.
management?
I just wanted to pile on what Farhan and then me said. I'm going to explain in two parts. One is in a conventional way. One is in what Marty Kagan says. Marty Kagan is, I'm not sure how many of you are aware, he is the contemporary world product guru based out of the Silicon Valley, and he has there is no tech company where he hasn't coached them. So he has written 3 books, and I'll give you the references. So I'll give his perspective around product management as well. Now, conventional one, if you go back in time in 1930s, product management was equivalent to brand management. So the example I can give you is Procter and Gamble when they started. Okay, so that's where initially what history is saying that was the early root of this product management. Then, if you fast forward 80s and 90s, then the tech giants like IBM, Microsoft, they came and they adapted this discipline, and they said, okay, this is what the function in our organizations, and these guys are going to aim to coordinate between engineering, marketing, sales to meet the market needs. So there, the role has become as a coordinator. That was 1980s and 90s. Fast forward 2000s. Then Agile Manifesto came, and it has revolutionized the product management in terms of iterative development, customer involvement, adaptability over rigid planning, all that stuff. So that has changed impact on the product management practice as well. Then fast forward 2010, then came the lean startup by Eric Rice. I hope many of you know. Again, he's also an awesome guy from Intuit. So he has written a lot of books, Lean Startup book as well. So he further reshaped the product management. He highlighted on quick prototyping, learning from the experiments, iterative development, and fostering data-driven and customer-centric mindset. That was 2010s, where this lean startup thing has changed again, a pivot in the product management discipline. Now in the recent trend, if you see, more like metrics based decision making, user experience design, integration with AI, machine learning. So these things have injected into product management. So it has become collaboration between product design, engineering, or marketing teams has gained this recognition, and then that's how it evolved. So in summary, it shifted from coordinating role to bringing data-driven and customer-centric products to the markets. Now, going back to saying by Peter Drucker, he says the main purpose of any company is to create customer, okay, and the customer is going to buy your product or service, okay. That's what every company is trying to thrive in selling their products or services. Now, the second part of my product management perception based on Marty Kagan. So he defines it as it is the intersection of business, technology, and user experience. He stresses on grasping the market needs, technology potential, and user behaviors in crafting truly world-class products. So that's the trend. If you see in the Silicon Valley, which is like a poster boy or a poster region in terms of building truly world-class products. So these are the two perception. One is the conventional product management, how it evolved in last 70, 80 years, and then what is contemporary product management definition or perception. What do you, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Great. I think you guys have explained very nicely what is product management. I have witnessed very successful product in my career, maybe 16, 20 years ago. So in my earlier company, in the corporate life, when I was the vice president for planning, okay, so the company was marketing one product called Wafi. It's a livestock feed. Okay, so it was selling at 200,000 tons per year. That was its sale, total sale, and then the rest of the products were around like 400,000 tons. So it's like a 20% of the overall sales. And then the guys have identified that this is the way forward. This product has a potential to do a lot of research, and then they introduce a product called Wafi. And then with a true product management, I see a world-class product management approach there. Now, they spent a lot of time, effort, research, and everything. Over a period of 3 years or 4 years, the total sales volume is 3 million tons. From 200,000 tons to 3 million tons, it became a multi-billion dollar company because of that one single product. Okay, so earlier they had around 80 or 90 products. So they rationalized to 40. Okay, in that 40 also they further rationalized. They end up into one product which is taking care of 80% of the thing, and they optimize it in such a way that that is a truly world-class product. Okay, so I have witnessed the full life cycle of it. I was part of the whole process, so it's fortunate to learn. But that's not all. But I thought I learned. But the real product management I learned during developing my products. So when I started doing, so I underestimated the nitty-gritties of the product management. Okay, so we started with the gut feeling, without proper research. So we started development, and then we thought, then we stuck into the many hurdles. Okay, now the customer what is expecting is completely different than what we are what we think the customer problem is. Then that's how it is. Then we started doing the product management part, what we supposed to do it slowly, and then we keep on doing it, and then finally we arrived at we understood what is real product management by doing it. So that's a great way to learn. But that I don't recommend to do that for anybody. So don't do the risk of investing your time and resources without doing a product research properly. Anyways, that's thank you for the. I hope our Sheikh Saab will join us. We cannot see him now in the panel. Okay, I believe he will join. Deep, if you are hearing, just maybe he's trying to rejoin. Allow him. Now let us start our discussion. I have one thing, like we talk about design thinking. Okay, we talk about design thinking, about product management when it's a holistic approach. Mihai, would you like to give a brief on the design thinking part, why it is more important in the context of product management?
Yes, thank you. Design thinking is important not just for product management; it's also important for the strategy process. And although design thinking has been set up as a best practice methodology for creating for building new products with an increased rate of success. Strategy uses it not for products, but for types of products, not for one job to be done that a product is solving, but for categories of jobs to be done and types of solutions that address those jobs. So we're talking about types of customer needs and types of solutions from the strategy perspective. But from the product management perspective, design thinking it's typically used to be able to better understand the job to be done of certain customers that are targeted, and then to be able to emphasize and imagine some alternatives that turn out into something that the customer validates in the form of a prototype. So that's what the design thinking workflow is doing. But we're talking here about a methodology. Product management, it's a discipline, and then it's a function inside an organization. Strategy is a discipline and a function inside an organization. Design thinking, it's a tool, it's a methodology, it's a way, a systematic way of approaching the design of new products, or in the strategy layer, is to better understand which are the typical choices from the point of view of the types of customer needs and types of solutions that we're actually putting together as a long-term strategy. Because strategy is not for one product. Strategy is for a wave of products, and some of them might be different from another. So therefore, the design thinking it's helping us to set up the directions, the positioning of our strategy, and then one by one, product by product, design thinking it's allowing us to improve the chances of having a successful product launched. So you see, it's a methodology that is shared for one purpose by product management and for a, let's say, more extensive purpose by strategy.
So do you think, Mihai, in my experience, the guys are, design thinking is a fantastic tool for the strategy management, of course, for any other domain of the business. So do you think currently, what percentage of the companies they think in that way? So do you think people do the design thinking kind of approach while doing their product management or a strategy, or they go by gut feeling, or what do you think?
The integration of design thinking and strategy, and let's clarify, design thinking from the strategy perspective, it's a precursor of strategy. It's not part of the cycle. You need to continuously do your experimentation in using design thinking in the product space, and you map that with another kind of experimentation in the strategic choices space. And from these experiments, you draw some conclusions that allows us to make better choices. From time to time, we need to reposition ourselves, and that means, again, making some decision about strategic choices. And based on the understanding and knowledge that we collect through design thinking, either as experimenting for strategy, or from the successes or failures that happened in the chain of product launches and product categories, we can better create a new positioning for our strategy. So that's something that is new. Strategy experimentation, it's a relatively new area of strategy management. Not very well understand, but intensively practiced today, because people understand that we need to increase the probability of having a good strategy based on some realities that are checked, are verified, are validated with the customers whose jobs we try to solve. And from the point of view of who's using it, again, because it's something relatively new, I believe that very few companies are integrating design thinking in this way of defining types of customer needs and types of solutions in order to support the strategic choices decisions. But from the point of view of product management, I think that many companies are using design thinking. Design thinking, it's a mature methodology and workflow, and it has been pioneered by people at IDEO, at the Stanford School for Design. So that's something quite mature, and I hope that many people in product management roles are using design strategy as a best practice for being able to launch more successful products. So that's what my understanding is.
Yeah, fantastic. Engineer Farhan, you are leading a product management in one of the largest telecom. Okay, if it is not, I think it is the largest in Middle East, whether I think. Okay, STC. So would you like to throw a light on this? So how you guys are doing really? And you work not only in STC, and there are subsidiaries like Go, Jain. I think you led the product management in multiple organizations. So what do you think?
Yes. So what I have experienced back in the days, the approach to product management used to be you build on your capability. So you know that there is a capability in your organization, and you try to productize it and try to push it into the market. And I've seen a lot of products fail because of the reason, because they don't abide by the design thinking. And when we talk about design thinking, I believe it is an integral part of product management, because it helps the product managers to empathize with the users, to define the problems, to ideate the solutions, to do prototypes, and they test it iteratively. So, if we incorporate the principles of design thinking, the product managers can create truly, some products which can truly resonate with the users, and this will guarantee a higher adaptation and satisfaction, and at the end of the day, revenue for the organization. Unfortunately, still, this is a practice in many places, that they try to build a product around the capability within the organization, and then they wonder why the the, uh, the the customers or the market is not responding, why they are not buying this product. It is awesome, it is best in class, it is futuristic. Unfortunately, the customers cannot resonate with it, and this is where design thinking is very integral to product management. In the phase of ideation itself, I encourage my team members also to first go and test the market, do some interviews with the customer, understand what are their pain points, understand what is the gap which you will be addressing. So this becomes very, very critical to the success of a product.
Perfect. Perfect. Sheikh Sab, would you like to throw a light on it?
Yes, I'm going to share an example, real example. A company, I'm sure everyone know about this one, Airbnb. They really exemplified how design thinking influences product management and strategic decision making, and they disrupted the entire hospitality industry. So I'll go step by step what they have done. Number one, the understanding the uses. So the authentic experience and was interest in monetizing their extra space of the hosts, going to them and then watching them in action. So understanding the uses. Then iterative problem solving. Then the third one was innovation and creativity. How can the peer-to-peer transactions, Airbnb can be offered in a disruptive alternative to the traditional hotels? And then strategic alignment. Airbnb product management efforts consistently supported its strategic objectives of expanding into new markets, enhancing the user experience, and fostering community. So that was the step four. Step five, ongoing improvements. So if you closely watch the Airbnb and their reviews, okay, they collect this data on a regular basis, and then they make regular, improvements to their products and their offerings into the existing products and to the expansion, global expansion into the different markets as well. So by integrating design thinking into product management, Airbnb has built a successful platform, but also transformed the global travel experiences. This example underscores how design thinking drives strategic innovation and industry success. If as a practitioner, there are two spaces when you build a product. One is the problem space, the other one is the solution space. So as Mihai was explaining, design thinking as a tool, this is predominantly applied in the problem space, where you we call it as a double diamond kind of a thing. Okay, you diversify and then you converge. Okay, in terms of the problems. So diversing is identifying number of problems. Okay, then choosing the right problem to solve is converging. Okay, similarly, solutioning, converging again. Now, to solve this one problem, how many solutions we have? There could be 100 plus. Now, are we going to do all 100? May not be. Now we diverge. Now we do a lot of experimentation at this part in converging. And once we nail down a particular through prototyping one solution, then it goes into experimentation and then implementation. So that way, design thinking and then your strategy and then your product management are absolutely tightly coupled. And then companies, number of companies, successful companies, if you see, they have effectively applied these three disciplines together. Back to you, sir.
Perfect. So I keep getting questions. I encourage participants to throw the questions. I'll take it up after my next topic. Yeah, this is very interesting start. Design thinking is something you guys have explained in a fantastic way, in all perspectives, from strategy perspective, from the practitioner perspective, and from coach perspective. So it's very nice to hear. Now let us. Yeah, please.
If you allow me just a couple of seconds to clarify something, let's see if I can share a little bit of something.
Please.
Just a moment to find one of the many open screens that I have open in my window. Yeah, that's it. So just to clarify a little bit about what was said previously, if we're looking at one of the reference workflows of design thinking, and I hope you see the diagram, we can see that we have a number of stages, and so A to C are actually related to the customer problem, to the job to be done. It's a job to be done discovery part of design thinking. And then once we finish doing that, we move into the solution space. We start sketching and ideating, and based on the ideation, we build a solution concept, and then we build a prototype, and we test the prototype with the customer and get a variety of types of feedback from them. So actually, design thinking, it's actually addressing both dimensions. It's the let's say the traditional product market fit. Okay, so we identify the market dimension, which is the customer needs and customer jobs to be done, and then we match that with the solution dimension, which is creating concepts and alternatives, and selecting the one to prototype, and then getting feedback from the customer for the prototype, and based on that feedback, moving forward to either launching a product or to drawing a conclusion that we can use as part of the strategy. So I will try to close this. Just a second. Now I have it open. I don't want to close my participation. So close window. Should I close window?
Yeah. Now it's closed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all set.
Then. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify a little bit, and those two dimensions, which are essential for actually positioning a business, are actually became part of the strategy as the two dimensions of the strategy. One is the problems to solve, and then they are mapped with the solutions that we deliver to the customer for solving those problems. And design thinking helps us for both, and that's why in an integrated manner of joining design thinking and strategy, the decisions that we take on the strategic choices on the first dimension, it's integrated with the jobs to be done discovery, which is not just related to one set of jobs to be done. It's an entire sequence and types of jobs to be done, and then the decisions on the strategic choices for the solutions to deliver, it's based on the conclusions that we draw from working with the concepts of the solutions and with the prototypes and with the feedbacks from the customers, and as we gather them from multiple iteration of this design thinking process, and we can enrich our decision making process for the strategic choices. Just wanted to clarify a little bit this aspect.
Yeah. Thank you. I think you clarified how to do the strategic choices in the product management. Yeah, that's something we talk more about if you have time. Okay, I think let us talk about the preliminary thing. What about the leadership? Okay, so I know in every organization, the CEO and the top leadership is very closely associated with the product management because that's a bread and butter for everybody. Okay. Now, how do we do that? So, I would like to hear the real-time examples if you prefer, how it is done in STC, how it is done in your experiences. So, how can we like a role of leadership in driving this product management initiative? Okay, so how do that champion the whole thing to work it better? Okay, so I think we witness only very few successful products. Okay, so there could be so many, maybe 95% or 90% or maybe more products get failed. Okay, so in our experience of product failures and product successes, what is the role of the leadership team? So Farhan, would you like to throw a light on it because you directly involved in this? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I would say the leadership, it plays a very crucial role in fostering the culture of innovation and customer centricity within the organization. The executives, they are tasked with a lot of things, but they need to prioritize the product management initiatives. They need to make sure that they allocate the resources on a timely manner, and they need to empower the teams to experiment and take calculated risk. Now, when I say this, most of the time the leadership needs to have a clear strategy and a vision which they are building towards, and product management is the enabler for that strategy. They basically fill the role of executing the strategy onto the ground level and then delivering this in terms of the KPIs which were defined. Now, most of the time I have seen product managers getting involved in operational activities, getting involved in ad hoc tasks, which throw them off the track of product development, timely product development, I would say, or efficient product management. And this is a challenge across the board. Name it any industry, name whether it is any industry or any vertical. Product managers always get involved into operational activities, into ad hoc stuff because um, if he's a go-to person. If there is any challenge in a product or if there is any request, he is always involved because he's the go-to person for that product. The role of leadership here is very critical. They should identify that the product manager should be isolated from the operational activities, from ad hoc activities. He should be given a very conducive environment with all the tools and resources required to develop the products which are of strategic importance for the organization. Most of the time, organizations are not able to come out of this vicious loop, and hence they fail in introducing good products into the market. And I tell my team that you are the CEO of the product and you have all the authority to take decisions on what needs to be done for this product. The management is there to support you, but you are the one who has to even tell the management what is best for your product and what is not good for your product. So, of course, leadership has a very, very critical role, and I often use this analogy to a lot of people, and I tell them that the job of a product manager is more like gardening, but unfortunately, he is busy firefighting. So he
Mhm.
cannot do two things at a time. Don't involve him in firefighting. He cannot do gardening. He needs his peace of mind. He needs a calm environment. He needs all the resources in order to do gardening for you. But if you involve him in firefighting, he loses that edge. And at the end of the day, it is the company which gets affected. Their KPIs get affected.
product manager is a gardener. Very nice analogy. Okay, so very nice. So how do the senior leadership encourage you to, as a product manager, to take risks? Okay, so it all depends on how they support the senior leadership support the product managers. If they don't really support properly for the taking risks, okay, it's never going to happen. Okay, so in on average, how the organizations do that. Okay, so what helps product managers to do their gardening, what do you call it, in a better way?
See, there are many best practices depending on different industries, but usually you need to use some tools like, for example, a Kanban board. A Kanban helps a lot in timely product development and product management. At the same time, having different committees where you have all the stakeholders involved, having some weekly or periodical sessions with all the stakeholders in order to define the timelines to a granular level, on a daily level. This helps you keep in track, and that is where the management plays a crucial role to ensure that all the stakeholders participate equally. Agile methodology is something very important. This helps you. This was not the case earlier, but recently the product development activities are very agile. It helps you to optimize your resources and enhance the efficiency. At the same time, ensure success for the products you're launching.
Yeah. Mhm. So, what do you think, Sheikh Saab, about the leadership role? Can you?
Sure. Let me take an example. Okay, the example which all we can understand. Um, Apple under Steve Jobs. Okay, his unwavering commitment to the product excellency has really made this company a great company. Here is how he has done in following way. One is visionary leadership. What he used to say, I'm not sure how many of you read biography of Steve Jobs. I would strongly recommend any product leader should read that book, because you get to know a lot from how Apple internally operated in initial days, and then how, as a leader, Steve Jobs was. So his famous saying was, "We are here to put a dent in the universe." That is how he was so visionary. I can go on explain about him for hours together. If you read that book, there was one chapter on when they were iMac designing the iMac. There was a debate on having one key on the keyboard, and as a he was a marketing guy, he knew how to sell the product. He was not from any other engineering or any other background, but he was so much involved in really bringing the product excellency awesome. That's around the visionary leadership. Then the second one, focus on design and user experience, both functional and elegance. You can see from its products. And then empowerment and accountability. Here is what I want to pile on what Farhan was saying. So there are two kinds of companies in the world. Most companies, good companies. Most companies, they are feature factories. They build features. They are not empowered. They were given a list of features. Hey guys, to 2024, this is the pruned list of 2024 roadmap. You go and build. That's it. No arguments, no discussion, no dialogue, nothing. It was like one dimensional. So we call it as a feature factories. So the engineer's job is to go on cranking features. And the downside of Agile is helping them to do these feature factories and delivering feature after feature, not even caring about who is using, who is not using. That's one set of companies. The other set of companies, which I said, good companies, which Farhan was saying, that empowered product teams. This is where your accountability and decision making is decentralized and given to the empowered teams. So your strategy, your OKRs is another subject. Probably we may touch upon. So people say OKRs are failure now after 20 years, started from Intuit. Okay, the reason for that is the context. So the OKRs were evolved from empowered teams, not from the feature factories. Now you bring that thing and you apply in the feature factory, and so you have two things. You have roadmap and then you have OKRs. So the teams will take roadmap, they won't take OKRs. So that's the kind of, the difference what we have in good companies, in most companies. So coming back to the Apple example, it's empowerment, accountability, willingness to take risks, attention to details. Steve Jobs was so keen on looking at how many of you, I'm not sure how many of you are the Mac users, there is no refresh button on the screen. Okay, whereas on the Windows, Dell, or I mean laptop or any other laptop, you have something called refresh button, and then you do the refresh on your desktop icons. That is what key attention to the details, how you build beautiful products. So through this visionary leadership, Steve Jobs propelled product management initiatives at Apple, resulting in iconic products that revolutionized the industries and impacted millions across the worldwide. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, great example. But we have reservations about the OKRs and the strategy. That
Yeah.
need to use it very carefully, because in the strategy management domain, OKR is something evolved from MBO management. Okay, so we have to use it very carefully. It's not that see, when you know your strategy, when you know everything, okay, so then you can have OKRs. But that is something different topic. We have a different. I know we'll have.
I'm not going to talk about OKRs. It's just a rebranding of a people's management method called management by objectives.
Objectives,
it has nothing to do with strategy, nothing to do with vision. It's just an operational people management method. If you try to use it for more than that, you do it at your peril. I wanted to clarify something related to the feature factories and to the good companies that were mentioned earlier. And I will try to do the same thing as before and share a window with you. I hope that you can see it. It should be related to the ambidextrous strategy. So what you have on the left side, you have by extension, okay, with a certain approximation, you have the feature companies, the feature factories. Because when you have a competitive advantage and you have some current value propositions, the thing that you can do, it's actually to defend them and to extend them, maybe expand geographically, but actually you're just taking care of them and nurturing and garnering them, and that's what you do, because that competitive advantage cannot be significantly changed. It's going to decrease in terms of economic performance in time. And that's all that you can do. You need to do that. However, you can't leave that aside, because that generates revenue and continues to generate revenue, not at the same rate along the timeline. It tends to generate revenue less and less, because every competitive advantage it's decreasing in time. It's faced with competition, with other copying your solutions, and so on. So in the meantime, you also need to create a new competitive advantage. It's the example with Steve Jobs and bringing to the market a product that was beyond the strategic horizon of the phones, or of the various components that he integrated into the iPhone. So those are the good companies on the right, because they are innovating, they are creating new things, bring to the market concepts that product concepts that never existed before. Now, guess what? You need to be a feature factory in parallel with a quote-unquote good company. In other words, you need to still manage your current value proposition, your current product line, and improve them as much as you can, add new features, maybe expand the business, new channels, maybe geographically. But at the same time, you need to create new products, new concepts, and if possible, even create a new blue ocean, possibly on the right side. And you need to do these things in parallel, because at a certain moment in time, beyond the strategic horizon, your current competitive advantage won't be able to produce enough revenue anymore, and you need to have a new set of value proposition brought to maturity by that time, in order to allow us to get a new revenue stream with a new product, innovative product, maybe revolutionizing the market, whatever we are able to do. But we need to manage this in parallel. So that was my point that I wanted to.
Very interesting point, Mihai. In this slide, I had a question when you shared this in LinkedIn. Okay, I like this. Okay, so one point is the CEOs or any business leaders, they need to really understand what is that inflection point. If they don't recognize and if they don't see that as an inflection point coming up, okay, so they may turn up to be like you talk about like Nokia. Okay, so they don't see what is coming up, and then even though you are good in the left side, okay, so you're whatever you're best, but still you can go out of business if you don't do that. I think the product management part, that product management priority focus, that should is on the most on the right side. Okay, and then just keep gardening the left side. What is your current products and mature it, milk as much as possible, and then your major attention to be in the right side. That's fantastic slide, Mihai. So having said this, okay, since we are talking about strategy, yeah, you want to add something, Farhan?
Yes, adding to what you're saying, Abdul Qadir, I tell my team that it's more like keeping all the balls in the air, while you're juggling. You want to make sure nothing falls through. And even to the management, I tell them that we should focus more towards the blue ocean, because if we venture for long in the red ocean, eventually the company will be doomed. And I don't want to use this phrase, but the graveyard is full of these examples. So this is the very key role of the strategy as well as the management, to keep their horizon very broad, to keep their vision, far ahead, and to invest and to work on that, and to capitalize, be the first to move into that area. And this is where the product managers help fulfill their dream.
Yeah.
I'll add on one more example to this one. I'm sure you all the audience and then the panel members know about the company called 3M. So they have a strategy. I really love it. They say that 30% of their revenue should come from a product which was not existing 3 years before. Wow. This really makes the entire product management team, the product group, on the toes. that they need to balance between being a feature factory and empowered product teams. Because the strategy is you need to get 30% of your revenue from a product which was not existing 3 years before. Super excellent strategy, and that's how the 3M has become so popular, so great company in terms of innovating new products all the time.
Fantastic. I have one question. Maybe I'll take it up because maybe the user is waiting for that. So product information management, okay, which seems to be a capability for organizations, okay, to grow strategically. Okay. So what do you think about product information management, Farhan? So what you advise?
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, you would like to talk about it. The question is product information management, which seems to be a capability organizations should strategic grow in order to mature data-driven approaches for design thinking and productization. Yeah. Any quick couple of liners so that we can move forward. Yeah. Mhm.
Sure, and thank you for the user here. He brought our focus to a very important aspect in product management, and I tell them that if you don't have a product information management, you are running blind, and you can hit the wall any given day, because running blind is a suicidal thing. So yes, data driven decision making is very, very significant, and I can quote hundreds of examples from our day-to-day life. Product managers, this is their bread and butter, I would say. This is what they feed on. They have to have data, they have to have dashboards, they need to see the performance on a daily basis, if not weekly. And then we also need to make sure that after analyzing the trends and analyzing the performance, we find a lot of things in the market which, I can give you examples of tweaking a basic small feature added millions on the top line. So I would say it is very, very important to have the PIM platform, and it is very important for the product managers to keep an eye on the performance and the different matrices, the different KPIs, and analyze how they can tweak it and how they can enhance it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. May I?
Fantastic. Yeah, yeah. Would you like to add, Mihai or Sheikh? Would you like to add something on it?
I used to highlight this in relation to strategy management, but I think that because we are talking about the an overlapping area with product management, I think that equally applies to product management, especially to new products. In strategies, we're saying that both strategy and what follows the definitions, the formulation of the strategy, which is execution with strategic planning and executing the plan, we are actually working with some models, some components that are defining our strategies, and some components that are defining our strategic plan with objectives, initiatives, and alignment, and so on. Now, these are two models of the strategy, model of the strategic plan. Both of them are built on a construct of hypotheses and assumptions, because they are both about the future. Both about the future, and we can't foresee the future. We don't have a crystal ball to look into it and say how the future will unfold. We don't have these possibilities. Therefore, we need to use our best judgment, our best collection of information to educate our judgment, and employ a number of hypotheses and assumptions in all the components of the strategy model, and then in all the components of the strategic plan model. Now, always, some of those hypotheses are invalid, but we do not know at the moment when we use them which of them are valid, which of them are invalid. And therefore, as we we execute our strategy, we identify some malfunctions, some wrong things that happen, some customer not buying enough of some new features of our products, some things that contradicts some of the hypotheses that we have used, which means that we learn that those hypotheses, some of them, turn out to be invalid. And what do? We go back to our model and say, where have we employed this invalid hypothesis about the channel for distribution, about the pricing, about some features of our solutions? Some hypotheses were wrong, and we replace them, we reconstruct that part of the model, and we continue executing our strategy. Now, with product management, it's exactly the same thing. When we launch a product, of course, we have employed design thinking and some of the feedbacks that we've collected from the customers who have evaluated our prototype. It's helping us increase the probability of success. But still, we will have some invalid hypotheses and assumption, even at that time, of the time of launching our product. And therefore, what happens, we need to have the same adaptation systems that we have for strategy. We have to have an adaptive product management, which means that we learn after we have launched the product, we see what happens with the product, who buys it, who doesn't buy it, what the competitor's reaction is to it, and a lot of other things that confirm, that are validate or invalidate some of our hypotheses. As soon as we realize that we have hit an invalid hypothesis, we need to go back to our design, including the design of our product, modify what was invalid, modify that feature or modify whatever it's resulted from it, and go back and adapt our product, maybe with a revision of the product, with a new version of the product, something that allows us to have an adaptive process for product management in the same ways that we have an adaptive process for managing strategy.
Perfect. That's a great insight, Mihai. So in my experience, so no matter how robust your product management, how robust your processes, the leadership team, the final winner is the customer. So the moment you launch your product to the customer, so his inputs are the key thing. Okay, so the most important. So adaptation, as you said, Mihai, that's very important. No matter, even if you have a world-class product launch, when customer feedback comes, I think that optimizing the product or adjusting the product to the customer needs is the most important point, to a level where it truly adds value to the customer. That's a great point. Okay. So now I have a question from Samir. I'll take up that question, Samir. So basically, the product management, and maybe this product could be a physical product or it could be a service, right? So it could be any one of it. Yeah. So there is no, it has its own focus, either it could be a product or service. So in a diversified, the question from Samir is, if you have a diversified company, like if you have a business units, cannot, so if you have like multiple business units, like 9, 10, or whatever business units, and each business units are interlinked, okay, but they have different portfolios in the business. How do you embed the product management concept or culture into this? I think you are able to see the screen, right? The participant, you are able to see the screen. You can read it.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody, Sheikh Saab, you would like to start? Or,
yeah, sure. I'll give you an example from my experience as well. So this problem, almost companies as they grow in years, they become more complex, they acquire more companies, and the system will become so complex, and then they're offering number of services. The example I can quote from is from PayPal. So when I was at PayPal in 2016, this was the case. And there were so many offerings, there were so many Scrum teams. We were having Scrum teams close to 150 to 200 Scrum teams in different portfolios. So it was like a mess. Now, how do we do this one? So how do we bring the discipline execution, get the right stuff done ethos in the company. So the first thing is we need to solve this problem holistically. It is not about product management itself. There are so many other things which you need to look into to solve this problem. Number one is the organizational structure. So in PayPal, what we did, we brought something called durable teams. So each portfolio, we identified one portfolio which is serving a particular segment, all the products, and then the services they are offering to that particular segment, they become one durable team. Typically, the size could be around 150 to 200 engineers. So in that, you have all the three functions: design, architecture, and then the product. All these three guys had this particular portfolio. So we call it as a three in a box kind of a model. Okay. So you need to holistically, logically restructure your larger organization in these durable teams, which are totally independent in making the decision and in building the product as well. What does it mean? That they don't have the dependencies on the other portfolios. Okay, so that is very important. If you go, 99% of the technology companies, wherever they are really slowed down by the dependencies. I can challenge anyone on my experience, based on my experience, last 3 decades working with different technology companies. This is the only one thing which is really slowing up the technology companies in terms of bringing the agility. So going back to the question, so the one thing is holistically we need to logically make these durable teams which are independent, no dependencies, or minimize the dependencies with the other portfolios. And then you bring the accountability from the top in terms of three in a box kind of a thing, where architectural design and then product guys, right from the top to the bottom, you build the accountability model. So, and then there are many other things as well, but this is will give you an idea how to at least to start solve problems in your organizations.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. Okay. Into the diversified. Sorry,
I
the
wonder
diversified.
if
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
add something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please,
Some
please.
of you might be familiar with the Kaplan-Norton Balanced Scorecard framework, and how they create the alignment process, the organizational alignment process, which means that you take an organizational strategic plan, strategy map, and scorecards and portfolio of initiatives, and then ask each of the business units to define their contribution to some of the objectives, participation in some of the initiatives, and scorecards which are specific to them and to the objectives that they can contribute to. And then, of course, we have a horizontal interdependence between them because some of them are internal customers and others are internal suppliers. So you have an alignment process. Now, the interesting part is when you apply the same concept to the organizational strategy, to the business strategy, and then move it even further to the corporate strategy and say, okay, we have a holding company with a variety of business lines, and we need to have an understanding of how do we like to position ourselves. It can be, let's say, a loose interdependency, like there are very different. One is construction, and one is I don't know, tourism industry or just retail. Apparently, very little, very unrelated to each other. But then there are still some common things, because at the end of the day, whatever strategic choices we take in each of them, for each value proposition or set of value proposition that we have in each business line, they might have things in common when we get to the capabilities required to support those strategic choices. And we might find out that some capabilities are common to even to completely different business lines because we are related to technology or to going to the market or to a variety of other things. So capabilities required as we build our strategy and we launch new value propositions. And therefore, we might have an alignment process at the strategy level, not at the strategic plan level, which we have seen how it works, but also at the strategy level, which means that we can have a contribution of each business line to the overall corporate strategy, and even if there are different business lines, and have some common part and some specific parts in each of them. Now, guess what? Because there is a pairing of strategy and product management, we might have very much a similar situation with some common capabilities supporting the development and the management of the product life cycle in various business lines that we have inside a holding company, a conglomerate. So I think that this understanding of how alignment works in terms of strategy and then on orienting the product management, it's something that needs to be researched and understood, again, for finding synergies and the possibilities of not overlapping the development of some capabilities in various business lines when we already have developed that for another business line, but we're not reusing it in various places when that can happen. So therefore, the alignment concept applies to strategy, including to corporate strategy, and then bringing it to business strategy. And then, of course, we will find that into the strategic planning and strategy execution. But again, it's mapped quite significantly on step by step for the products that we have in our products portfolios, and we can have a similar approach to alignment at product management level in the same way that we have at strategy management level.
Perfect. So we have a few questions. Al Nasir,
Abdul Qadir, just a minute,
you can tell.
Just I want to show one. I want to show one slide actually.
No problem. You can show. I'm trying to tell Mr. Al Nasir Bhanji that I think you have too many questions. Okay, so I will ask the organizer to add you so that you can talk yourself. Give us like 10 minutes. Okay, so once we finish a couple of topics, you can speak. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sheikh Sal. Yeah, please. Yes. Sorry. You are asking something, Sheikh?
Yes. I'm just bringing it up. I don't know.
Yeah, because we have few topics to be covered, so I want to make sure that we cover them.
So this is based on Roger Martin's model. So his model is based on 5 different questions, and then there are answers, and then in the form of choices what you make. This is the most simplified version of defining strategy. Now, if you see in the top right, so you have winning aspiration. What is your winning aspiration as a company? Then the next one comes where to play. Okay, and the third one is where to win. Okay, then to where to play and where to win, what capabilities you need to build. That is the 4th choice. And the last one is the management systems. What management systems you need to have to measure your capabilities, improvement, and then all this stuff. So these are the 5 questions. These are integrated questions where you need to answer, and then the outcome of this exercise is set of integrated choices. Now that happens at a corporate level. Then it happens at a strategy group cascade. Then it happens at each individual business level, aligning right from the top to like. So going back to the question the audience was asking around how do we do this larger companies? So you have business cascade, number of companies which are perfectly aligned with your corporate the strategy, You are not doing or you are not reinventing anything new here. Instead, you are perfectly aligned based on this model, which will give you a lot of leverage in terms of alignment. Um,
Yeah.
what do you say?
Yeah, yeah, perfect. I think there is a this we need a lot of time to cover all the topics. I know
Yeah.
there are some uh, very
Three,
interesting topics. Okay.
three observations here. First of all, is not really strategy aspirations, as it's actually the paramount challenges. And I would invite you to look at Richard Rummel concepts about the what drives the strategy. It's not aspiration. It used to be aspiration, but if you look at the paramount challenges that the company has, then you have a better choice of actually funding your strategy on something that it's very realistic. Of course, the winning aspiration, it's a compelling concept, but in practice, it's better to focus on the paramount challenges that the company is facing along the strategic horizons until and beyond the strategic horizon. Then playing and winning. This is not really a game in many cases, because playing and winning, it's about it's about only having one winner and multiple players. It's not really like this in many cases, and it's better to understand that you have customer problems to solve, and then you have solutions to deliver to them for those solutions. I think it's a more valid concept than playing and winning. And thirdly, you can't stop at capabilities. You need to, in order to define strategy, which is even more important than capabilities, is to understand the gaps between the capabilities which are required to support the strategic choices on the two dimensions of problems to solve and solutions to deliver, and then compare that with capabilities that we already have, activities that we already did, compared to activities that we'll need to do around the new products and product concepts and about new solutions, and also capabilities that we have, and understand that we can reuse some of those capabilities for the new categories and types of products and for the new competitive advantage and value propositions. And then there are gaps, something that is completely missing or something that just need to be reconfigured. And the strategic gaps becomes the essential missing link between strategy and strategic planning, because strategic planning needs to focus on closing those gaps in capabilities, and as a consequence, be able to turn into lives the strategic choices that we have made. So we can improve a little bit on the models that you have presented, which was
No, it's not my model. It's not
I
I have not
know.
invented.
Roger Martin.
This is
It's a Roger
Roger
Martin.
Martin's model.
I
So I have not invented it.
I
Yeah.
used to embrace it completely, but then again, connecting the dots, it's important to understand multiple theories and multiple concepts and see how can we integrate them in a logical way and take from each of them what represents a significant value and combine them in the ways that in practice can be applied more successfully.
Fantastic. I think let's move forward. Let us say we do the design thinking and then come up with the right strategy planning process and everything is ready. So what is the role of scenario planning here? So when you have strategies in place, you have formulated strategy. So how do you do the scenario planning? Because you need to know what is the worst case scenario, what is the best case scenario, whatever. So in real time, when you do the product management and release a product, so how do you do the scenario planning? So what is the importance of scenario planning in launching the new product or service or renewing the existing products? So what do you think, Engineer Farhan? So in your real-time experience, how do you do that?
Yes. From my experience, I can say that the scenario planning helps the product managers anticipate any potential future scenarios and to prepare accordingly. So, by considering different possibilities such as market shifts, or technological disruptions. Product managers can develop flexible strategies, and they can adapt their product roadmaps to the changing circumstances. Recently, compared to the last decade, this is very, very critical right now. Product managers uh, should have a very, very keen, sort of awareness on what is happening in their domain, what is the upcoming trends, what are the upcoming technologies. And recently, we have seen a lot of disruptive innovations taking over the market. Products have gone kaput overnight, I would say. So I always encourage product managers and the management to always have a very keen eye on what is happening across the globe, not only in your region, across the globe, in the domain, in similar domains, because many practices can be reflected across different verticals also.
So, what do you think, Mihai, is the scenario planning? What is the importance of this very quickly so that we just take up the new topic?
Scenario planning, it's a precursor of strategy. It's setting up the let's say the environment within which we develop strategy. And just to clarify one thing, we don't do scenario planning at functional level. We don't have the scenarios for marketing, scenarios for production, scenarios for sales. First of all, scenarios are not about our industry, not about our arena. They are about something that it's outside of our industry. In other words, it affects everybody in our industry, one scenario or another, because we are forced due to the nature of uncertainties, and that's the bread and butter of scenarios. Uncertainties are the bread and butter of scenarios, and we pick the most critical uncertainties, and we can't have 20 scenarios. We can't work with that. Typically, we have 3 to 5 scenarios, and that's why we pick the top and the most critical uncertainties, and we build a number of scenarios which are guess what? They are not valid just for our companies. They are valid for all the companies in our industry. Normally, everybody should have the same kind of scenarios within our industry. Okay, but in reality, it differs from one business to another depending on how they view the future. So we have scenario planning. We have a number of scenarios. And what are we using them for? We're using them to validate if our strategic choices, or if we go down the road, if our products in our products portfolios that we're developing and that we have on our roadmaps that we build for our products, if they survive and produce still acceptable economic results in all the scenarios. Because if they do only in 1 or 2 of the scenarios, and in the other, let's say, third and fourth scenario, they are actually driving us into the ground as a business, then that's a not good positioning, not a good set of choices, not good portfolio of roadmap of products. So we need to use the scenarios in order to get a sanity check of whether if we take with one product line or with one set of strategic choices, if we're going to fare well, irrespective of which scenarios will actually turn out into reality. Because when we create the scenarios, we don't know which of them will actually turn out to be the prevailing scenario. So that's why scenario planning needs to provide us also not just for the product, it's, as I said, even the strategic choices and the required capabilities needs to be validated for all the scenarios. Because if at least in one scenario, let's say call it the worst scenarios if you like, some of our choices will actually be bad, and in terms of results, we are going to lose money or even risk bankruptcy. And we do the same with products. We might have some flops, some failures in one scenario. Then that's not a good product. So a good product needs to to at least produce acceptable results in all the scenarios. And same goes for the strategy and not only.
Excellent. Excellent.
Can
Anything?
I add something?
Yeah,
Can I add
please.
Yeah, so for me, it is all about imagining different future and understanding how this could affect your business. I'll give you an example. For example, Amazon's Kindle. Before launching the Kindle e-reader, Amazon probably thought about how people might start reading more digitally. And this scenario planning has helped Amazon to disrupt the top book industry, how people read digitally. The another one is emerging opportunities, Airbnb expansion in terms of renting homes beyond just looking ahead, saw chances of offering for long-term stays. Okay, so that's the scenario of emerging opportunity for Airbnb, and they did it. And the another, scenario is mitigating risk. The example is Coca-Cola diversification, how it has evolved just from carbonated drink to the number of products they are offering. Similarly, for innovating for resilience, the Netflix context strategy. You all know that how Netflix have grown globally in terms of having their own content. Initially, when Netflix was started, you know the story. They were taking content from other sources, but based on this scenario, for innovating for resilience, so they came up with their own original content, which made them absolutely unique in the world in terms of. So in all these cases, right, scenario planning helped to shape product strategy by letting companies see what happened in the market, find new opportunities, manage risks, stay resilient. So this is something we can learn from these companies around the scenario. Planning, Abdul.
Perfect. So, yeah,
Abdul, may I steal 30 seconds from the timeline, just to clarify something, and I'll use again a diagram which is important for understanding the concepts that have been mentioned. So first of all, scenarios are not about trends, not even about weak signals that are possible future trends. Scenarios, it's about uncertainties, and we need to understand that we use trends and weak signals to define a strategy, and as a consequence to define the, let's say, if you like, the roadmap of our product lines. And then we use uncertainties for defining the scenarios. We need not to confuse what means a trend and what means an uncertainty, because trends have relatively low uncertainty. And if a trend it's highly uncertain, it may go either way, then we use it potentially as a key uncertainty for building scenarios. And we need to understand the difference between the two, because it's very easy to confuse trends with uncertainties and build scenarios based on trends, which is a mistake. And we need to clarify these concepts needs to be very clear, crystal clear for those people who are responsible of making choices inside an organization. And that's something that it needs to be well understood. So, yeah.
Okay. So in Fru strategy, we do have a very simplified scenario planning module where we talk about driving forces and uncertainties, identify them. You have indicators to know about the external factors, and then you come up with the scenarios, different scenarios, scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at any given time, not all scenarios are active in real time. So you identify scenarios which are active, and then we want the leadership team, whoever is responsible for that particular scenario, updates. So you update on a month-on-month basis, so that instead of leaving it to a one-time exercise. You keep monitoring it. So in Fruit Strategy, we do that as a part of a monthly update process. So what are the active scenarios, how these driving forces and uncertainties and indicators are taking place, and then you can take appropriate action for that. Yeah. So that's a nice point of scenario planning. Now let us talk about very simple thing. Okay. You want to add something for
As
her?
a, yeah, at the end of the day, I said, you know what you don't know, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Unknown number. That's great. Okay, so now as a product managers, one of the most important thing is they need to have the funding, proper funding. Okay, so how do you encourage senior leadership, or you prepare submit proposal to the senior leadership or something? Because if you don't have proper funding for the product management or product innovation, whatever you call it, okay, so if you don't have enough funding, so it will be a problem, because you may not be very competitive, or you may not do it properly. So how do you do that in real time? So because it's very important that you give enough funding for the product managers. Okay, I don't know what is the good funding. I don't know. So you need at least required funding. Otherwise, you'll have a problem. So what do you think, guys? So Farhan, if you would like to talk about. So did you face any problem in getting fund for your good idea or something?
Yeah, so basically, when you talk about product funding, you need to understand that you need to demonstrate what is the return on investment, and then also need to be aligning the proposals with the organization's strategic priorities. So, product managers, they should present a clear business case highlighting the expected outcomes and benefits of proposed initiative. But let me also tell you, you have touched a very sensitive pain point for a product manager, and this happens to us in every budgeting cycle every year. Apparently, no company has luxury of resources to fulfill all their dreams. This is the true fact at the end of the day. So we use a term called the envelope. We say the envelope has this capacity. Whatever can come in this envelope will be delivered by the end of the day. So the whole thing is, even for the management, they develop some different matrices. They see what is the ROI, what is the net present value. They also see how aligned is it with the strategy of the organization, how aligned is it with the vision and the mission. Accordingly, they do some sort of a ranking, and based on that ranking, they then shortlist the top few products where they can fund. Uh, for people who have been in this game for long, they know how to ace, uh, this game by tweaking their products to come to the top of the list. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, no company has enough resources to fulfill all its dream, and budget is always a constraint. That is where the product manager's key capability of understanding the ROI, understanding the alignment with the strategy, and also understanding, sometimes you can deploy the product in different phases. So probably you can go with the minimum viable product with the MVP in the first year, and then you can build on top of it with an incremental budget. That way, even the management is more comfortable to experiment in that area. So I always tell my product managers that yes, ideas are good, but not every idea can precipitate into a reality. You need to be aware of the different variables which needs to be considered when it comes to planning product expansion or enhancement, or even introducing a new product altogether.
Great, great.
Unfortunately, this area it's a mess in most companies. Everybody is
Let me
fighting
stop you.
for my project is more important than yours, and that's a mess. That's typically a mess. And
Those
unfortunately, what happened was one of the main reasons. It's the fact that people don't understand the role of the proper validating the strategy. This is a diagram that some of you might be familiar with. I would like to ask you, if possible, to look at this stage number 5. It's the final stage before we finish formulating a strategy and moving into strategic planning and executing, which also means improving our products, moving them along their roadmaps, and creating new products, and launching them, and then be managing their life cycle. So that's stage number 5. It's a stage about feasibility and viability validation, which means that before even starting any fight about budgeting, we need to understand, first of all, the new changes, the new features that we would like to develop for our products are something that we can do with the affordable resources. And it's not just about money, it's also human resources and other constraints. And then if we have finished doing that, if that is viable, it's something that goes beyond the return of investment. It's actually viability in terms of business model, of structure of costs and revenue streams. And we need to have a very good understanding of where are we heading. Are we heading towards something that can be achieved? Are we heading towards something that can survive and produce improved economic results? Even before we start, again, based on our strategy, put money into new features that we would like to add to the products that support the current competitive advantage, and then in the launching new products, maybe for the new next competitive advantage, and things like this. They need to be very clear in terms of our capability of covering, including from financial point of view, all the costs related to doing all that. And of course, the viability is about the supporting the costs of operating, the products, do they provide our sufficient revenue, the cost structure related to each product line, it's can be covered by the revenues and produces profit. So it has to be very clear before even if we start doing the next budgeting for the next year, what does it mean in terms of feasibility and viability. And by the way, you can look into the diagram at stage number 8, which is after we have created our strategic plan with the changes that we would like to do, again, for existing product lines, for new product lines to be launched, created and launched. And we've gone to the alignment, which means that everybody needs to understand their contribution to all these changes. And then we are going to operational integration, which means that the budget needs to be informed. We have made our assessment, and we need to understand how much money is required for moving some products along their roadmap, and also for launching and supporting some new products. And that needs to be clearly marked inside the budget. It's something called StratEx, which is strategy execution, similar to CapEx and OpEx, which needs to be very well highlighting and protected, because otherwise, if we don't do that, we won't be able to move forward according to our strategy. So there is a very clear traceability from the strategy to the product lines, to the roadmaps, to the new competitive advantage and new value propositions and new product lines, down to the changes required and to the viability between the revenue streams and the cost structure, down to the budget. So that's something that needs to be very, very well clarified. And if we don't take this approach, of course, the result will be exactly what we've mentioned: the fight for funding and stuff like this inside the mess that it's the budgeting in organizations.
Great point, Mihai. We are running out of time. I think I wish we have more time. But I would like to talk, because we are curtailing many topics, which I wanted to, at least I put a list of things to discuss. But I would like to touch one of the most important, very relevant for this period of time. How about the ethical part? Like everybody is talking about sustainability. So in any product management, so how to take care of this ESG, environmental, social, and governance part or perspective, you can say, to the product management part. Okay, so for Sheikh or Farhan, if you would like to, Mihai, so how this the ESG part is now very relevant. I think it's very relevant now for any product or service. Okay, so how can we take care of the ESG compliance part or whatever you call it? Okay, so as far as the product management is concerned, how important it is it? So are you really considering in the real time while doing product management? So Farhan, would you like to answer on that?
Sure. Considering the ethical implications throughout the product life cycle, I would say including data privacy, security, and even the social impact. So, for example, the product managers, they should ensure that the products are designed with user privacy in mind, and they do not perpetuate any harmful stereotypes or biases in the market. So it is, of course, of great significance, and the product manager should have uh, a great consideration for all the ethical reasons to consider these aspects while developing and designing the product.
So you do it in a formal way. Is there any method you do it include the sustainability and these things in your a formal way to do it, or is it like a it's like a
This is a
add-on? So you have.
No, it is a part of the cycle, the part of the process. So we have different departments, including the legal department, as well as the regulatory department, as well as the uh, sustainability department. We go through the concept with them, and we also align with them. We take sort of a green light with them early on in the ideation phase itself, and then we proceed with this with full confidence that we have covered all these aspects within our product.
Perfect. I would like to, because we are running out of time, and there is a gentleman, Al Nasir Bhanji. He's putting so many points. I cannot read them. So, Mr. Al Nasir, would you like to join us? If you are available, you can speak yourself. You can ask. Deep, if you can allow Mr. Al Nasir to the panel just for a quick couple of minutes, so that we can talk about some questions there, and then followed by some more questions in the link. Yeah.
So that will not be possible actually to allow Al Nasir. So we need to share the link, and that's a public platform, so that cannot be done.
Okay. No problem. Okay, so then I'll just read it out loud. Okay, so then thank you, Deep. Thank you very much. Basically, Al Nasir is requesting a lot of questions, and actually, he's advising us also. Uh, there are so many things, where to start. Okay, okay. Uh, yeah. So I think there is basically, you have an advantage. You have some recommendations to what we are talking and add-ons, explanations. Okay, so over the critical thinking skills and understanding in your own portfolio management, like brainstorming. So Allah has wrote a lot of text. I think our organizers will copy this text and then summarize it and share with our audience. Okay, so definitely we will have more. Uh, okay, so I'm sorry, Al Nasir, I wanted you to allow to speak. The organizers have served. Okay, so now let us take up one quick question, because we are talking about global strategy talk show, and then how these product managers and strategy managers talk to each other in real time. Okay, so I know the CEOs are always very close to the product managers because they keep talking to them on a daily basis or whatever. Strategy managers also is very important. The CEOs talk to them, but it very rarely the product managers and strategy managers talk very closely. Okay, it's in a meeting or something, and maybe the product managers are not very keen on talking to the strategy managers, not vice versa. So what do you think? Can you throw more light on how can we how can we align more the product management to the frontline strategy planning and strategy management? I'll open to you guys, please. Yeah, please feel free to answer this. Mihai, would you like to answer because you are expert in this?
Actually, we're talking about people from two different planets. So some of them are living on one planet, the others are living on a different planet. Sometimes they move from, they take the next rocket and move from one planet to another. They communicate eventually if the planets are not too far apart. And what means in reality, it's the fact that we have a strategy management layer and we have an operational management layer. Strategy management is part of the former, and product management is part of the latter, which means that we have the operational integration. If you remember the stage number 8 in the diagram that I've presented last week, it's about integrating strategy with operations. For instance, product management, of course, it will need to best manage the ways that products are designed and launched and their life cycle is managed. Those are best practices, and that needs to be done very well, very professionally. And that is, just to use a Kaplan and Norton analogy, it's just trying to fish better and to learn how to fish with the best kind of hook and so on. Strategy, the other layer, it's actually telling the product manager where the fish are, which means that they tell you these kind of products we need, these kind of customer jobs we need to address. This is how we would like to use some choices of channels, of customer proximity, of a platform and integrating with ecosystems. The strategy tells that to the product managers, is like telling them, go where the fish are. Of course, you need to know how to fish very well, because if you don't know how to fish, and even if you are where the fish are, you won't be able to catch anything. So these are two components which are combining themselves together, strategy and product management, in order to be able to do the job of filling the boat with fish. I need to know where the fish are and be guided towards there, and then also to be able to fish very efficiently in order to be able to catch the fish. So that's the kind of communication, and that is happening at the operational integration. And I can't explain better than Kaplan and Norton did explain this in the execution premium process of how do you integrate strategy and operations, and specifically operational planning and product managing and a product roadmap management. It's also an operational planning. You plan when you develop your products, when you launch them, for how long do you keep them in the market until they are replaced. That is operational planning. But you need to understand strategy, what tells you to do, for how long and how, in order to be able to do that thing well. And without this communication at the integration point between strategy management and operational management, is like two planets which are in two different galaxies. They won't be able to communicate with each other. If it's Earth and Mars, okay, we are close enough to be able to communicate, to fly rockets from one to another, and be able to integrate the operations on a multi-planetary environment like this.
Yeah, I remember when I was planning, when I have a head of planning, when I was conducting strategy review meetings way back in, I'm talking about 2009, 2010. Okay, so long back. I had a problem in everybody like sales, manufacturing, procurement. Everybody they used to join very easily strategy review meetings, except the product manager. Okay, so then I insisted to the CEO that guys, please bring him, because it's very important. Even if it is not, he don't have much to say in the meeting, but it's very important to have a overall strategic alignment in picture. So that's I used to bring him 1 or 2 meetings. Then later we realized that his presence makes a big difference, because there we are debating about the key strategic objectives like customer satisfaction and then the supply chain. Okay, so we identified some key points that are related to the product. Okay, so then later the product manager told, guys, I would like to attend even if I don't have any much contribution in this. I would like to attend because it helps me to understand the practicalities of the sales, manufacturing, logistics, supply chain, and other things which I don't know. Okay, so that's how we used to manage to bring the people into the context. Yeah, Sheikh Sab, you're saying something because we are running out of time. We already had our scheduled meet time is over, but we will another few minutes. We will try to
Yeah,
continue.
just adding to
Yeah.
what Mihai was saying, excellent example of the fishing. See, in a happy scenario, everything is fine, but the challenge arises when there is no fish at the end of the day. Then starts the blame game. Then starts the blame game. The product manager says, I know how to fish, but you led me to the wrong spot. And the strategy guy says, here are all the fishes, but you don't know how to fish. And it's a very common scenario. And like you rightly pointed out, Abdul Qadir, and I've seen this in multiple organizations. Uh, in some organizations, there is a very good practice of involving all the stakeholders in the strategy formulation. This plays out very nicely. This plays out so beautifully that everybody is on the same page, everyone is aligned. And I've also seen organizations where when you sit in a strategy meeting and you sit in an operations meeting, you feel these are two completely different organizations. They don't even belong to the same industry or same domain. It is, you cannot imagine the disconnect they have between the strategy layer and the implementation or the operation layer. So yeah, cutting the thing short, it is always a very healthy practice in the time of strategy formulation to involve all the stakeholders. This acts as a very nice motivation for the whole organization to put all their efforts in one direction and achieve the objectives.
Fantastic. I think we have completed our given time. I think I will give another one round of cycle for each one to just conclude from your side so that, if there is any questions, because we run out of time. It was so interesting and it's very encouraging discussion. Okay, so start Shakes up. You would like to give a quick final takeaways for the audience and the participants.
Yeah. So each of the topic what we have discussed, right? In the industry, there are hundreds of experts, hundreds of models are there. Okay. For each of the topic what we have discussed, there is no one silver bullet. Okay. So my humble request to all the audience is to the number one thing what you need to think is about the context in which your company is right now. Okay, and then adapt a simple model. Okay, don't go for, complicating your life, because I'm a big believer in saying that simplify to amplify. Okay, so pick a model. If you are starting to do something, learning from this session. Okay, pick something which is simple. Okay, and then start with small. Okay, and then try to amplify with your experimentation, because this is how a modern corporation has to operate in the next 20 to 30 years. This is how, because we all are going through a lot of vulnerability, uncertainty, ambiguity, VUCA, we call it as a VUCA, right? Ambiguity and all the stuff. So this is reality. We need to understand this reality. Okay, if you don't understand this reality, no matter what strategy you have, people say that your culture will eat your strategy for your breakfast. So make sure that whatever you do, you have to think holistically. Okay, and then bring out the change in incremental way rather than boiling the entire ocean in one shot. Okay, so that would be my concluding part as part of this whole session. I once again thank you, my fellow panelists, and the sponsors of this event. In fact, this is the first time because I am doing a global webinar. I never talk because I have a different opinion around these kind of. I used to do a lot in 2011, 2012, 2013, and after that, I couldn't find time to do these things again now, because now I became a consultant, so I have to sell myself. So, so that's why I'm here. This is the piece of advice I want to conclude with. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, Farhan. So, any final takeaways from your side? Yeah.
Excellent. Using the analogy of Mihai, I would like to address to the people of my planet, the product managers. I understand the anxiety, the nightmares the product managers have about the future, and this is what I would like to give my final takeaway message, that effective product management practices, they encourage experimentation, they encourage risk taking and continuous improvement. So don't be afraid of it. Fostering a culture of innovation within organizations is very important, and by staying attuned to the market trends and customer feedbacks, product managers can anticipate shift in the competitive landscape. They can proactively adapt their strengths to stay ahead of the competition. So, a final takeaway message: uh, product managers, keep up the good work. You can do laurels to the company. You are the CEO of the product, and the companies depend on you a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. So, a couple of words, Mihai, as a closing points.
Do you know how you recognized a weak company versus a strong company in terms of capability to evolve and survive and face all the odds that are going to be challenged with? Again, this is related to the topic of the show, of the talk show, which is strategy and product management. I recommend a litmus test. If you hear in meetings around the company, in various kinds of meetings and gatherings, people using terms like marketing strategy, IT strategy, supply chain strategy, product management strategy, that is a signal of a weak company. And I will tell you why. Because, and I will just quote Michael Porter, strategy is inherently integrative. It's how about all the pieces and functions all work together. And the more you divide strategy into various functions and parts that are important to the business, the more you won't have a strategy at all. And I close the quote, which means that normally in a strong company, you shouldn't have all these strategies. You only have one strategy for any particular business. And then from that strategy, you understand the guidance that you take in various functions and teams and business units inside the company. And then when everybody does their jobs, then you have a strategy, which again, of course, it's adaptive. You need to keep it adaptive because not all the hypotheses turn out to be valid, but that needs to work as an integrative. And integrating in our case of the topic today, strategy with product management, it's extremely important to be done in the ways that we have mentioned around here. And one more comment in the end. Organizations are complex. They are not simple. Strategy, as a consequence, it's complex as well. You can't handle a complex organization with a simple strategy. How should I say? I don't want to use any specific adjectives here, but it doesn't make any sense. But strategy is made out of simple concepts and simple principles, which are then assembled together and into something which is called requisite complexity or requisite simplicity, which means that not all people need to be exposed to all the complexity in the same way as on the daily job. Nobody understands everything inside an organization. They typically understand the jobs that they need to do and the functions that they are part of. They don't need to understand and to know exactly everything about the entire company. The same go with strategy, and then it trickles down to product management. You need to be able to assemble small islands of simplicity into a complex construct, which is the organizational strategy, and then also the product management, even more in a, let's say, a conglomerate or a holding type of company. So that's the hidden trick about simplicity and complexity. Remember these terms. So requisite complexity, which means only some people need to understand everything. Most of the people don't need to understand more than their part. And requisite simplicity, which is actually the same thing regarded from the other side, which means that there is a certain level of simplicity that needs to be brought to everybody. But then there are there are some designers, like in a car. Those who design the entire car see all the components, but there are just a few people. Then on the assembly line, everybody works only on one part of the car and taking care of that, and they don't need to care about everything, because there was a thinker, a designer, who thought about everything to match together, and then they handle each their own simplicities at their work, or inside of product management or strategy. Again, they manage the simple ideas and concepts and the elements of the jobs that they need to do.
Yeah, perfect. So I would like to just add a couple of points. Being by part of the product development myself through strategy. Okay, so I understand all the concepts what we talk about today. So we realize that giving a solution for the strategy execution, which is comprehensive enough to help the senior leaders to execute strategy, that was our key objective. So we wanted to give all the bits and pieces required, at least the majority of the parts required to execute strategy successfully. I think to a large extent we succeeded in that. Okay, so our product has shaped up and helping organizations now. So I don't want to share screen and show because it's not a marketing show, but I will be very happy to showcase and help organizations to execute strategy through strategy. And we are happy to promote the best practices in all parts of the business to the users of strategy management. As Mihai said, business is not simple, and strategy management is also not simple. So there should be enough point. Thank you for joining, panelists, for today. It's very interesting. I think this is one of the best talk show, because this topic is so nice and very interesting. And then we passed 2 hours very, very fast. And panelists also very active. The participants also very active. Thank you, Al Nasir, Bhanji, Samir Nasser, Ali Khan, and many people which I cannot scroll it up and see. And we record this and put it in the YouTube and our channels. Anybody wants to ask any questions to any panelist, please throw a note for us. We'll just clarify all your questions, best practices, help you in whatever way possible. And we are also trying to conduct another global strategy execution conference in somewhere in June. Okay, and we will do this time because of the demand for 2 days, like around 20 lectures. Okay, last December we did it. It was a huge success. This time we will be doing in a more organized way, more better way, and giving enough time for at least 20 lectures. And I'm planning on 7th and 8th. We did not release that. So we ask the key speakers, experts in the industry to join hands and help the organizations, the CEOs. They can join and enjoy the session. Of course, we don't have to agree on everything what we speak. It does not matter, as long as the participants are smart enough to take the good things and skip whatever they don't like it or they don't understand. That does not matter. At the end of the day, achieving success is our all, and helping you to achieve success is the objective of everybody, all the panelists. So thank you very much, and I wish you good luck and have a have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.